I did a weird thing, and hopefully you can relate. Hey Booktube, it's Kim and Middle of the Book March, and I have a book haul for you. I don't remember when I did the last one, but I constantly tell you that I'm not going to be buying a lot of books, and I constantly say I'm being purposeful in my book purchases, and I can claim that I am, but sometimes I literally can't help myself. That sounds so lazy. Yeah, I could help myself, but guess what? I don't want to. But I do have a book haul, and these are all either bargain books or used books or a few specific books that I really went out looking for, and I'll tell you those when I get to them. So let me show you what I did. Here's the first thing I'm going to tell you is the weird thing I did. And I am sure many of you can relate. Do you buy books in a series before you've even read the first one? Like, I bought the first one, and okay, actually, let me backtrack. Do you buy books from the same author without having read one book from that author yet? That's what I did. It's not necessarily a series. But her first book I bought, is it her first book? I don't remember if it's a debut or not. Yes, this is her debut novel. But what I did was I bought her debut novel when I was still with Book of the Month Club. I'm no longer with them. But I bought this one, and I haven't read it yet. This is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. And I think Susan from Road Reads was, gave this book a great review. And these are retellings. This Ariadne, gosh, I'm not going to, do I want to give you a little bit of a summary? I don't know. Ariadne, Princess of Crete, grows up greeting the dawn from her beautiful dancing floor and listening to her nursemaid stories of gods and heroes. But beneath her golden palace echo the ever-present hoofbeats of her brother, the Minotaur, a monster who demands blood sacrifice. So this is Jennifer Saint's debut novel. And I'm still really looking forward to reading it, but dang it, when you've got as many books as are on my shelves, I don't know where to turn next. But when I do love retellings, mythological retellings, here's what I did. I bought the second one, Electra, second of her books. It's not really a series, but I haven't read Ariadne yet, but I did buy Electra. And this one is Three Women Tangled in an Ancient Curse. When Clytemnestra marries Agamemnon, she ignores the insidious whispers about his family line, the house of Atreus. But when on the eve of the Trojan War, Agamemnon betrays Clytemnestra in the most unimaginable way, she must confront the curse that has long ravaged her family. I really love the retellings. So this is the second one from Jennifer Saint. And what did I just do? I bought the dang third one. I haven't read any of these yet. This is Atalanta. What the hell am I doing? Why do I do this? If I read a book by an author or two books by an author, if I really love them, I start buying any of their books that I find, if I go to a library sale, if I find a bargain section and I see their books, I'm going to collect them. I've got authors on my shelves with a dozen books and I have read 2. So why do I do this to myself? What is Atalanta about? And I love this cover. These covers are beautiful. When Princess Atalanta is born, a daughter rather than the son her parents hoped for, she is left on a mountainside to die. But even then, she is a survivor. Raised by a mother bear under the protective eye of the goddess Artemis, Atalanta grows up wild and free with just one condition. If she marries, Artemis warns, it will be her undoing. Anybody relate? So those are the books by Jennifer Saint, none of which I've read yet. I've bought all 3 of them. Let's keep going, shall we? What do I want to show you next? I will show you this one. This is The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gunty. This is interesting because this was a bargain book that I found in an American bookstore, but this is the British version of the hardcover. So I thought that was really interesting. I actually have the paperback, and I hate the cover. I'm one of those readers who that really affects my reading experience. Obviously, it doesn't change the words inside, but Another advantage of a hardcover is the bigger print. So I bought this one at a very good bargain price. Blandine isn't like the other residents of her building. An online obituary writer, a young mother with a dark secret, a woman waging a solo campaign against rodents, neighbors separated only by the thin walls of a low-cost housing complex in the once bustling industrial center of Vacaville, Indiana. Welcome to the Rabbit Hutch. So I really liked this version, and I thought, well, how is the British version in an American bookstore at a bargain price? I don't know. This one I found in Goodwill, and I've done it again. I bought a book in a different version than what I already have. And the reason is I have a few other of this author's books, all in hardcover. And I found this one in hardcover, and this for me was a jackpot. I found this in Goodwill. And this is Fall on Your Knees by Anne-Marie MacDonald. And this is I don't know if it's a first edition. Let me check that. This is a pristine, no, it doesn't say first edition. But this is a pristine hardcover that was published many, many years ago. And while I was on that page, I could have told you the year it was published, 1996. And it is completely free of dust, dirt, or mold, and it's in almost unread condition. So Fall on Your Knees by Anne-Marie MacDonald. So I have, the books that I have of hers are all in hardcover. A stunning novel of epic proportions and storytelling power, finely written, rich and very moving, by turns dark and hilariously funny. Following the curves of history in the first half of the 20th century, Fall on Your Knees takes us from haunted Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, through the battlefields of World War I to the emerging jazz scene in New York City and into the lives of four unforgettable sisters. I'm not going to read the entire blurb, but now I have her books in hardcover. Yay for me. I got that at Goodwill. I don't know if I said that. For $3. $3 for a pristine hardcover. Let me show you these next. This one is a fairly recent release. This is Mama by Jessica George. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. Mama. Yep, has many meanings in Twi, but in my case it means woman. And I believe this is George's debut novel. It is. This is a debut novel. This was a bargain book, and I really love this cover. It's fair to say that Maddie's life in London is far from rewarding. With a mother who spends most of her time in Ghana, yet still somehow manages to be overbearing, Maddie is the primary caretaker for her father, who suffers from advanced stage Parkinson's. At work, her boss is a nightmare, and Maddie is tired of always being the only black person in every meeting. When her mom returns from her latest trip to Ghana, Maddie leaps at the chance to get out of the family home and finally start living. A self-acknowledged late bloomer, she's ready to experience some important firsts. That's all I'm going to read. So yeah, this has been on my radar since it came out, and found it on the bargain table, so I picked it up. Let's see. Now, these other books are on the cusp of classics. Some of them are classics, but you'll see when I tell you about them. This one I got from, there's two in the pile that I bought full price. This is one of them. But this is a Library of America book, and I am a member of Library of America, and I get kind of a percentage off, so I got this at a discount. This is The Prodigal Women by Nancy Hale. It's a novel, and this is a pretty big, it's a big, thick novel with French flaps. Really pretty book. And this is set in Boston, New York, and Virginia. The Prodigal Women tells the intertwined stories of three young women who come of age in the roaring 20s. Not flappers and golden girls, but flesh and blood female protagonists looking wearily and warily at the paths open to women in a rapidly changing world. I always look for books written by women on the Library of America website. I have so many books from them that are written by men, but I also have found many, many written by women, and I kind of gravitate towards those, as one does. But this one looked so good. This is a big, chunky one. This is like over 800 pages. is a long, 845 pages. And Library of America books are extremely well made, so this is super heavy, and I'm going to put it down. So, this is, my next pile is one of the other books I bought full prices in here. That'll show you last. But the other ones are classics or modern classics. I found this version of House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende in the Everyman's Library version, which I love. This is translated by Magda Bogan from the Spanish. Isabel Allende is a Chilean author. This is her first book, but this is the third book in a series of hers, and I read the first one, Daughter of Fortune, a little while back and loved it. And the next one is Portrait in Sepia, and then this is the third one, even though this is her debut novel, The House of the Spirits. And I just love this Everyman's version, former library copy, used book. In a triumph of magical realism, Allende constructs, there we go, a spirit-ridden world and fills it with colorful and all-too-human inhabitants. The Trueba family's passions, struggles, and secrets span 3 generations and a century of violent social change, culminating in a crisis that brings the proud and tyrannical patriarch and his beloved granddaughter to opposite sides of the barricades. I love Everyman Library books. Everyman's Library. This is a book that I initially saw on Jennifer Brooks's channel, and I found it as a bargain copy, and when she had reviewed it a while back, she gushed about this, and it sounded so good. And this is kind of a lost classic from Mary Shelley. This is Loor, and look at this cover. This is so pretty. It's a pink book. Also published as The Beautiful Widow, Mary Shelley's penultimate novel explores the web of relationships between 3 women bound together by the exacting Lord Loor. Cornelia, Lodor's estranged wife, ruled by her mother and the norms of aristocratic society. Ethel, his daughter, raised in the wilderness of Illinois and utterly dependent on her father. And finally, the independent and highly educated Fanny Durham, the daughter of Lodor's childhood friend. Have I read Frankenstein yet? Nope. But I'm buying this book by Mary Shelley. It just sounded so good. This edition is published in 2022. But when was it initially published? It does not say. It does not say the original year of publication. So, Loor. Let's see, I picked up this vintage version of The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. I have a couple of Faulkner books. Haven't read them. But this one was a bargain book, and it's a vintage classic, which I love. I love these vintage books. Depicting the gradual disintegration of the Compson family through 4 fractured narratives. The Sound and the Fury explores intense, passionate family relationships where there is no love, only self-centeredness. At its heart, this is a novel about lovelessness. Only an idiot has no grief. Only a fool would forget it. What else is there in this world sharp enough to stick to your guts? How fantastic of a blurb is that? And really looking forward to getting to Faulkner. This one is so interesting. This is such an interesting way to publish a book, and I have seen these before. But now this is a book. The first one I'm going to show you is a book that I read once, went to reread it and put it down because I wasn't that crazy about it, but I want to pick it back up again. I am determined to pick it back up again. I really do want to reread it, and then I want to read the other book that I will show you next. This is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. You're wondering why there's a barcode here. I'll show you in a minute. But this is a really pretty cover. This version is, who is the publisher? It's so pretty. This is by Picador, New York. It's so pretty with this bunch of flowers. But this is Mrs. Dalloway, and I think we all know, if you're watching my channel, we all know what book this is. This is a book that is combined. It's deckled edges, French flaps. This is a book that is combined with Michael Cunningham's The Hours. And if you flip it upside down and turn it over, there are the hours. And it's so, I love this. It's so cool. I wasn't aware that it was going to be that kind of flip over. One book is published and then the other book is upside down, so you have to flip it to read it. I bought the book specifically knowing that both books were published in the same bind up, but I wasn't aware it was this. And I'm so happy because this makes me happy. It just makes me happy. One last book. This one I bought full price because I have been wanting to read this for years. I have had so many people say you have to read this book. It is a giant, this is the hardcover special edition version, and it has 1,153 pages. This version is a special publication from Books A Million. I think it's a Books A Million special edition. This is Stephen King's The Stand. I am not typically a Stephen King fan. I've read several, probably half a dozen of his older works, and I did like them, but then when I tried to pick up a few of his newer books, I wasn't that crazy about them. But this one is different because I have had so many people say you must read The Stand. And this is ultimately a book about good and evil. And I love those types of books. But this is such a chunker. It is a beautiful hardcover, kind of with copper foiling, naked hardback. There are, as I've said before, as I've already said, I respond to book covers and the art on the book. I respond to pictures. I respond to all of it. And there's another version of The Stand with a picture on it that I hate. Every time I walked into a bookstore, that was the version they had, and I didn't want to buy it. But I saw this one because we were at Books A Million over the weekend, and I said, I have to buy it. And yes, I paid full price for that one. That is it for this book haul. This was a good one. Let me know in the comments below if you do what I do, if you buy a book from an author and then just continually buy more of their books because you think you're going to love them, even though you may not have read any of them so far. Or if you've only read one of their books and you keep buying more. Let me know if you do that. Let me know what you think about any of the books I showed you, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.